figure it out. We'll figure it out. All right, what's up, everybody? Well, one person. What's good? It's the Fantasy Dads,
Yeah.
episode 12. Talking about the NFC North today. The Bears, the Lions, the Packers, the Vikings. Should be a good topic. We got a lot of
Good.
different, lot of options for fantasy football in this division. Very good division to watch in, just outside of fantasy football. It's always fun to watch these games. Um, but this is going to be the last episode here on Twitch. We will be moving to Facebook. So make sure you go follow us there at the Fantasy Dads. Check us out on YouTube. The YouTube channel is strictly the Fantasy Dads now, as well as Instagram, the Fantasy Dads. So make sure you check that out. But we'll dive right in here with Kev with some updates and notes and news and injuries and all that
Couple
fun
little
stuff.
injury notes. Couple little. Oh, first we'll do a little COVID thing. There's a slew of false positive
I
tests
saw that.
that just came out on multiple teams.
I saw that.
Kind of weird. All from the same lab in New Jersey. So have to keep an eye on that. NFL came out and said that could happen in season, and then you get a guy that's positive on like a Saturday. He can't play on Sunday. Turns out it was a false positive. That would piss me off as a fantasy owner, but probably going to happen, which is why this is the year of the handcuffed running back.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, couple injury notes here. We got Mike Williams. Timeline is 2 to 4 weeks on a shoulder sprain. If it's his AC joint, those things linger a little bit, very painful. So I anticipate him missing a couple of games to start the season.
They
That,
were
that could open things up.
they were nervous that he broke his collarbone when it first came
Yeah,
out.
I guess he came. I haven't seen the video.
Yeah.
There must be a video, but he definitely. I heard he came down really hard.
Yep.
So Keenan Allen, obviously, he's a target hog. We know that. Behind him, though,
Got a little option there by Dynasty Dive this week.
there's a couple dynasty dives there. They were just hyping up another rookie wide receiver there, fifth round guy, Joe Reed. He's been working for running backs too.
Yep, that's why I saw his report when I was thinking about doing my dive. I've been talking about KJ Hill for a while. He's on my, when we're doing the rankings and the little sheet thing, he's been on my list. Out of Ohio State, kid's a stud, slot receiver. I don't think he would eat into Mike Williams' targets anyway. Not that kind of a player. So I can see why that doesn't really matter too much if Mike Williams is hurt or not, because he's more of a slot receiver, which they don't really have. So depending on that type of offense they're going to be running. Joe Reed's been working out with Eckler, so I think they're saying they're going to be using him all over the field. So that's another guy to look out
I think
for.
we're going to see a lot of Eckler, a lot of Keenan Allen, a lot of Hunter Henry, and then
Until he gets hurt.
I think they're going to try to really establish running game. So Eckler and Joshua Kelly. Kelly, the guy took him over Dynasty. Mock draft yesterday. So
that was great.
Yeah, look out for Mike Williams. Probably going to miss some time. Lamar Jackson, back in practice. So the groin issue, not serious. Anytime you see his name and injury mentioned, it's just like, yeah, it's gonna happen eventually. And He makes me nervous to draft, but he's just so hard not to draft.
Yep.
Very tempting. Is what he did last year was ridiculous. But sounds like he's gonna be all right. Darrell Henderson, mild hamstring injury. Hopes to have him back for week 1. But this sets him back. Cam Akers looks great. Comes out firing. It'll be his backfield to lose, I think.
I think it's his already.
Yeah, I mean, it's really sounding that way. Yeah. And there was another report I just saw like an hour ago that said he's going to separate himself in the second half of the season. He might have already separated himself. It's definitely going to happen.
Yeah, I can't make.
Also, Ayuk.
Yeah, Ayuk.
What was that?
That's tough. I was just saying, Cam Akers, one of those running backs, didn't get a ton of hype at the start of the fantasy offseason. Kind of flew under the radar behind, like Swift and the other guys. But Definitely a guy who's starting to make a name for himself. Definitely an interesting target. Um, Moving up pretty quick into those middle rounds in redraft leagues, especially with a report like this coming out. He's definitely going to start creeping back up there, probably to the rounds where J.K. Dobbins is getting picked, where Swift is getting picked. Um, Not so much Edward Solaire or Jonathan Taylor, unless the Rams come out. Unless the Rams come out and say he's our every down back, and then it's his job, and then that might make him a second round pick. So if you're having drafts now, um, don't be scared to take him in the 4th or 5th round. That's definitely a good person to bring up here.
You could jump and grab him if you really wanted him. He's definitely a dynasty target too.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, definitely a dynasty target, 100%. I mean, he's better than anybody in that backfield. It's just a matter of him learning the offense and all that stuff.
I mean, Malcolm Brown's probably going to vulture some touchdowns this year, but just what he does.
That's always what he does.
He's not going to eat really into anybody's value, especially like pass catching.
Mm-hmm.
So on to Ayuk. Pulled up on a deep route, grabbed the back of his left leg. I mean, I haven't seen much about how bad this is. It's probably mild and precautionary, but we don't really know.
That's sad, man.
I hope it's mild, and they just hold him out as a precaution because they're just dropping like flies over there.
They got nobody in that receiving core right now.
And they got Dante Pettis, and we know that Shanahan hates him. Trash bag. So.
Dante Pettis.
That would be brutal.
And I mean, he might creep up and be the number 1 receiver out of nowhere. They lost their.
I mean, Kendrick Bourne is there, but
they're saying he looks really good. He's looking like a starting receiver right now in camp.
And we always see him. He gets some touchdowns, but I just don't think he's that.
But they might need him to be that good. Unless you're throwing Kittle the ball 20 times a game.
You grab Kendrick Bourne. Kendrick Bourne's not getting drafted, even though he's like their only healthy wide receiver right now. So if you want to start the season and you're kind of shallow at wide receiver, just pick him in the last round and plug him in at your flex.
Trent Taylor is another one.
That's right. Trent Taylor is there. He will be their starting slot wide receiver.
Yeah.
That's another interesting PPR.
Yeah.
I like him and Scotty Miller.
Scotty
Miller.
Miller.
They late in drafts. Another rookie wide receiver, hamstring, KJ Hamler.
Denver. He was going to be the slot.
They're saying he out a couple of weeks. He might not be back in time for week 1. Rookie, this weird offseason, already hurt. That's not ideal.
Yeah, that's tough.
Not ideal. Tyreek Hill jogged off the practice field after sustaining an injury. Did we see today that he was working like by himself off to the side? Is that what they said?
What was the name?
Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek Hill, yes, hamstring injury already. Working off to the side at practice. But, I mean, that comes with that speed. It's going to happen.
These speedsters, they're all speedsters pulling their hammies right now. It's not great.
It's not great. It's definitely unattractive.
Early for them to already be pulling because it's going to linger. They always do.
Yeah.
They're going to get, week 1, he goes out there, deep route, pulls up again, and he's going to come out of the game probably for the rest of the game. I mean, we saw that last year with Hill. We've seen it with Hill before. Gives me pause, but he's just so electric when he's out there and healthy.
I still take him. If I have the last pick, I still stack him in Mahomes. I still do it.
That's your move at 12 still?
If I have at 12 spot, man, yeah, it's my move.
I just think it really depends on who's there at running back for me. Like, I'm not going to pass on. If Josh Jacobs and Miles Sanders are sitting there at the end of the first round, I'm not.
It's tough to do. But I think at that point, I think it's worth the risk. But then you have to take risk at running back and probably some rookies, or take a shot at
right.
It
would definitely leave what's left. Trade James Conner, a Lev Bell kind of situation.
Yep.
Jumping into that pool of guys that I'm not really trying to get in.
Definitely a scary.
I'm trying to get in that pool, man.
Definitely a scary place to be. That's for sure.
But I'm gonna be in it in your league.
Yeah.
I have to be in it. I got pick 5. I feel like Michael Thomas is gonna be right there, and it's really tough. Looking at him or Dalvin Cook, I think.
Yeah, I'm
See
at
how it goes.
my spot at 9's not easy either, dude. I'm gonna be in the same situation as you. It's tough spots. Middle round is just really tough this year. It's a really tough place to be. Back half of the draft. So, but
All right, let's get into the divisional breakdown here.
well, NFC North talked. We'll start off with the Bears. We'll start off at the bottom. But what's funny is that they weren't at the bottom last year. They were actually 8-8 last year, which really surprised me when we were looking over
Oh no.
the information. It's with the quarterback, like they got no quarterback play, so like instantly you're just like ew. When you look at Allen Robinson, you're like ew. You just want to stay away. But Allen Robinson produced last year. Where did he finish? We talked about it before. He was the top. Was he top
Pretty sure
10?
he was like wide receiver 7.
Yeah, he was a top
PPR.
10. So
Very good.
he's gonna produce, and Foles is there. I guess. I mean, he might end up winning the job. I just no. This isn't the quarterback situation in Chicago is just it's ugly. It's so ugly. I'm all set.
If,
Um, David
if
Montgomery.
Mitch,
What's up?
yeah, he can go back to how he was 2 years ago. I mean, they were
Yeah,
competent.
he was.
They went to the playoffs. They made a run. He ran the ball a lot. I still don't think he was very good, but I mean that defense was it was better 2 years ago than it was last year. Khalil Mack had just gotten there. You're right.
It's just I'm good.
Definitely not an ideal quarterback situation.
I'm good. I'm all set with him. And then, I mean, the receivers, they got some guys. Allen Robinson's obviously, he's in Kev's. Was he in your top 10 still? When we talked about him
Yeah,
before, he was.
I think I have him at 10.
Yeah, he's not in my top 10. But, I mean, he's still a receiver. Anthony Miller, PPR kind of a guy, so he's not a bad late round filler. He had some decent weeks last year. And then you got Tariq Cohen's a PPR machine. He's definitely a great guy to have for a flex or for filling on a bye week. But let's talk about the stud on this roster, and that's David Montgomery. He kind of had an underwhelming year last year with Chicago. I drafted him pretty early. Definitely picked him way too. He didn't produce where I picked him for. He
His
for sure. He only had 800
his
yards.
80 the ADP came up really high last year,
Yeah.
and he just didn't perform on it. Now this year, where he's being drafted, sort of a value.
It's worth it now.
I mean, he's like the last running back. Well, not the last one, because you got Rojo going after him, but he's one of the last guys that's gonna get locked in red zone work, and tons of touches.
I mean,
grab him in like 4th or 5th round.
he had 242 rushes last year. I mean, that's still
Yeah,
a solid number.
Not gonna change. They're gonna keep pounding the rock with him.
Right. I agree with you, Kev. I mean, he wasn't great. He was a flex play at most. I mean, he had weeks where he produced. He only had over 100 yards twice, though. That's ugly.
Very touchdown dependent.
Yep. Had 6 touchdowns. Caught one touchdown. They threw him the ball 25 times, so that's pretty. But with Tariq Cohen, you're not gonna get much reception with this guy. That's probably why he's going a little bit later. But that's their guy. He's the running back in Chicago. Nagy.
Interesting, just on volume alone.
Yeah. Tariq
All right
Cohen's
with it.
not gonna compete with him for early down duties. He's solidified his third down back role. I to say I would feel comfortable to have David Montgomery as my RB2, I would lie to you because I had him. Like I said, I had him last year. It's just I don't know what's gonna happen this year with Chicago. I don't know if they're gonna be another 8-8 team where Montgomery can produce some numbers, or if he's just gonna be the same as he was last year, and I'm gonna get a week
I'll tell you
here,
what.
a week there, and that's it. And I'm gonna start him every week because he's my RB2, but he's just gonna get me 5 points here, and then I'll have a week where he gets 22, and then I'll get a week when he gets 2. It's just I don't know. It's scary to me.
The schedule is favorable for him, at least to start. I got them going 7-9. I don't think they're a very good team, but there's the Lions, Giants, Falcons. That's 3 games where he could easily go over 100 yards.
Yeah, I mean, I
I mean,
just the
I'm very
Bears.
stout.
The Bears, I think not drafting a quarterback this year and going with Nick Foles, I think it's self telling that they know, like they know that this year is not going to be good. This is probably Matt Nagy's last year in Chicago. He's probably going to get fired. They're probably going to get a top tier pick in the NFL draft next year. I don't know. The Bears scare me this year. They scare me terribly. Um, but the defense might win them some games. The defense is always good. Khalil Mack is a stud. They got Kyle Fuller, Eddie Jackson, Buster Skrine. They signed Robert Quinn. Um, they got Raquan Smith from Georgia. That kid was a stud last year. So the defense is good. Defense is very good. It always is good. It's never really bad. That's what'll win them games, in my opinion. Their offense is not going to win them any games. You might be you'll get wide receiver 2 numbers, in my opinion, from Allen Robinson. Um,
I think easily,
Mount
especially with the start of that schedule.
maybe
Fire him up.
maybe
Fire him up.
I don't know. The
Giants in
Bears.
there, the Falcons in there, Panthers in week 5. I'll take it. I'll take Allen Robinson.
Yeah, sure. No, I'm not saying I wouldn't have him on my team. I wouldn't feel
We got
comfortable.
150 targets.
I know. He gets fed the ball. I know.
He's good.
Who else they got to give it to? Jimmy Graham?
Cole Kmet, though, we will talk about him as a possible dynasty asset.
Yes,
You can
definitely.
grab him in your dynasty drafts.
Yep.
I don't
He's
think Jimmy Graham's going to make an impact.
No. Jimmy Graham stinks. He's old. I can't believe they signed him. They drafted Komet, and round 2, I think it was early. They picked him early. He was one of the highly touted tight ends in the draft. I said highly touted, bro. highly touted tight end here.
Highly touted.
Yeah, second round. You got picked the second round out of Notre Dame. Kid's a monster. 6'6". He's huge. I don't know. He's young.
The Bears entered this
I'm good.
Give him a year to develop.
I'm good.
Throw him on your dynasty roster.
And then next year when they draft a quarterback in the first round because they're gonna have a crappy pick, he'll be an interesting guy to have at tight end. And he might have an impact this year. Quite honestly, you don't know. I mean, it depends. We'll see what happens. The quarterback play will determine everything.
Definitely possible.
Will determine everything for the Bears. But right now, in my opinion, the only draftable guy you got is Allen Robinson. And then if David Montgomery slips to you and you don't have to rely on him to be your RB2, I would take him as well. I would be all right with him as my flex, but I would not want him as my RB2. I would rather have David Johnson.
I wouldn't mind that.
I mean,
because if he's your RB2, then you're gonna go running back, wide receiver, running back most likely, and grab him in the 4th round. So if I have 2 really good receivers, top end running back, I'm fine with him as my RB2.
Okay. I don't know.
I mean, I would rather have him than like Melvin Gordon, because to get Melvin Gordon, you're gonna pass up on one of those other wide receivers.
I kind of agree.
So to me,
that. I kind of agree.
The way you're putting the team together, I like it.
All right, so let me. I'll name some names here. Then I'll name some names here quick. So like I just said, we should take Montgomery or David Johnson.
Where they're being drafted right now, I'd rather have Montgomery for sure.
Okay.
Because Johnson's going in the 3rd round. I'm gonna probably pick a wide receiver in the 3rd round.
Okay.
So I'd rather just.
I'm gonna pull up your rankings. I'm just curious. I haven't really touched.
I have Johnson ranked ahead of him, but it doesn't mean I want to draft him.
All right, so Mark Ingram or Montgomery?
Montgomery.
Montgomery or James Conner?
Conner.
Interesting.
Conner's the one in that group that he's growing on me. He's always hurt, but in that offense, he could. We talked about this. He could definitely be a value.
Oh, of course, but he needs to stay healthy. He
Right.
hasn't been able to show me that. That's why I'm in love with. Well, that's a different division. Here's an interesting one: Todd Gurley or David Montgomery.
I'm not touching Todd Gurley in the 3rd round, so
Okay.
I'd have him ranked. So when you do your rankings,
I'm looking at.
You're going by sort of a consensus.
All right.
And Gurley, they're saying they want to give him 15 to 25 touches a game, but I just don't think the knee holds up. I'm not going to pick him in the 3rd round.
Me neither.
I'd rather take Montgomery in the 4th and have him as my RB2.
Okay. That's fair. That's fair, man. All right. So you think Robinson's draftable? You think Montgomery's draftable? Anybody else you want to mention real quick before we move on to the next team?
Anthony Miller in the later rounds. That's about it.
He was a big help last year for the second place team in our league. Anthony Miller. He helped a lot of teams.
Yeah, as when Taylor Gabriel went away, Anthony Miller was very important.
Mm-hmm.
And he had some huge weeks. And now Taylor Gabriel's gone. They bring in Ted Ginn. I mean, they're kind of similar. I don't know what kind of role Ginn's going to have, but Miller's definitely a guy you can grab late. Okay. Have him on your bench, see how it pans out.
Yep.
Quarterback plays decent. You got yourself a nice wide receiver 2, 3. I move on to the Lions here, right? Another.
Yep, that's what I got pulled up here. I got the Lions pulled up.
Patricia. Wow, he's looking like Andy Reid Jr. out there today. You see him at the protest? You see those meatloafs he has for legs, buddy? Holy shit.
That man needs to do something with his life, bro. But hey.
Yeah, man. I mean,
he's on his
feet. He's going to be on his feet all day.
All that money, bro. You go work out, man. Go get a personal trainer, a diet.
Something. He's impressively large.
To each his own. The man grows a phenomenal beard.
I'm not trying to be an asshole.
No. We love Patricia here, New England boys. We love him. Happy that he's a head coach. This team is actually, in my opinion, as we were talking about before the show, the team grew on me as we were talking. Not only is my father playing for this team. No, I'm kidding. There's a guy called Tom Kennedy on this team. I thought it was hilarious. And he went to Bryant, and Bryant is a college in our hometown, which is it's just so ironic.
Put some respect on Bryant University's name, buddy. That is a university, the Bryant Bulldogs.
Bryant Bulldogs. Anyway,
respect on it, man.
So as I was saying, the team grew on me really quickly.
Bieber.
I was looking over the roster, the depth chart, the defense even is stacked. I mean, and it's not just because it's the Patriots from last year. They're actually stacked. They drafted a rookie corner who's going to be a lockdown corner in the NFL, and that is the basis of your defense. And I don't know this.
But they lost the guy that was a lockdown corner already.
But he is on the. Yes, I agree. Slay's a stud, but. You draft a rookie like this, dude, who you know is going to take over that spot and be fine. You get rid of that big contract. You pick a rookie deal in. I think they did that for a reason.
Right.
I like Okuda. He's going to be good. But besides that, the defense could be a draftable defense in fantasy. You know, like the Bears. But we'll talk offense here. I'm looking at that starting lineup, and it's sexy as hell. Matthew Stafford, if he comes out of the gun like he did last year, this whole offense can be starting on your team week 1. Like you could literally start every one of these guys besides Amendola, week 1 right off the rip. Like you can start Matt Stafford as a quarterback. You can get him super late. I did a player spotlight on him. The way he came out of the gun, out of the book last year, dude, it was unbelievable. He was on pace for phenomenal numbers. And he unfortunately hurt his back, and that was it for him. That was it for the Lions, and they ended up not winning another game. And they actually ended up going 3-12-1 or some crazy shit like that.
David Blau came along, yeah, it was rough. Kenny G was still putting up some numbers.
Well, I mean, he's a stud. That's
Blau.
Next point, Kenny G.
Kenny G, I think I have him.
I have him too low.
On my wide.
I have him way too low in my wide receiver rankings. I'm going to be moving him up.
Go tweak it right now.
He is a guy. Last year, me and you, Kev, we loved him. We drafted him in that team we were together, and
we had him.
Paid off.
He did us good.
Paid off well. He's got potential to be a top 5 wide receiver in fantasy football this year, hands down.
Right, we need a sleeper alert. Alarm that we can sound. We need a soundboard for this show because I got my guy Quintez Cephas. Quintez Cephas, rookie wide receiver. He was getting some hype earlier in the offseason, so we could do a
little deep dive on him.
A little triple D on Quintez Cephas one of these days.
That's all you, bro. You got him. I don't even know what the hell
Went
that is.
to Wisconsin.
I'm gonna pull him up right now.
He was getting some hype. It was a story.
5th round pick.
Quintez Cephas continues to get open.
All right.
So,
Hey.
you put him in the middle of Kenny G and Marvin Jones. He's got speed. Matt Stafford just loves to air it out.
Hey.
Put him on your dynasty bench.
Put him on your dynasty bench. Let's talk about Kenny G first. I love Kenny G this year, man.
Yeah.
Like I was saying, top 5 potential. He's an absolute monster. The fact that he could put up starting wide receiver 1 numbers for you last year with David Blau at quarterback should be enough for you to realize that this guy is the real deal. He is not a risky pick anymore. I know when he was was it his 2nd year? What's he in now? This is his 4th year, right? Yeah. So his 2nd year, I know after his rookie year, is this his 3rd? 2017. Yeah. So this is his 3rd year.
You're right. That would be 4th year then.
Yeah. So kind of a question mark. People were scared to take him. They were like nervous. They weren't really sure. I'm pretty sure he had a little bit of an injury bug his rookie year, if I'm not mistaken. But Marvin Jones.
He did. He only played in 11.
Marvin Jones was also the predominant wide receiver 1 when Calvin left. So I think that a lot of people were scared with that as well. But now I think you can confidently wait until round 2. I think he's actually going even later than that. I think he's slipping to round 3 in some drafts I've been doing. Dude, that's a value and a half. Kenny Galladay is a stud. I love him this year, Kev.
Yeah, he's like the Mike Evans.
Yeah.
He's not going to give you 100 catches, but he's going to give you 65, 70 catches, over 1,000 yards, and last year it was 11 TD. He's got double digit touchdown potential. Big body receiver. I mean, he's a.
You can grow on those though. He can. You're cutting out on me.
What's up?
Hey, Lamar.
Yeah, 1,100 yards last year, 11 touchdowns, 65 catches with David Blau. So imagine if he had Stafford for the whole year. Those numbers would be through the roof. He'd probably over 100 catches. He probably had probably close to 1,500 yards. That's crazy numbers, bro. That we'd be talking about him with Devontae Adams, with Michael Thomas, with those guys. So Kenny Galladay is definitely a guy. Don't be scared to take him. Don't be scared to take a leap on him either. Just I would take him. The more I look into him, the more I would take him over Tyreek Hill at this point. And I'm a big Tyreek Hill fan.
Interesting.
As you guys all know.
I don't know if
Kev, your voice is lagging, brother.
Tyreek Hill.
Who else you got? We're losing Kev.
And on the other side.
We got Marvin Jones. We got Danny Amendola in the slot. And you got Hawkinson coming back from his concussion. And we got the rookie Swift, who's making a huge leap up the draft boards. Kev, you got me open on your computer or something? I'm echoing like crazy. Hello?
Yeah, I can turn my laptop volume down a little bit.
Yeah, I think you're lagging because you opened something. I don't know.
I'm just doing what I've been doing.
Having a hiccup. That's alright. Yeah, your voice keeps cutting in and out. But I'll carry it in with yeah, it's okay. If you got your browser open, just close the browser. I think that's what it is. DeAndre Swift, like I said, climbing the draft boards. Kerryon Johnson's wearing a knee brace already. He actually walked off the field with a walking boot a few practices ago, and now he's in a knee brace. So that's interesting, something to keep your eye on. DeAndre Swift is listed as the starting running back right now. I don't think that's really a competition. He can pretty much do it all. They drafted him pretty early with Kerryon on the team. I like him. 2nd round pick out of Georgia.
I mean, Kerryon himself is like on Twitter saying that he can't do the things that DeAndre Swift can do.
He's admitted to it.
Being brutally honest, he's like, yeah, his knees and hips do things that mine can't. So it's like he just knows.
I wouldn't be surprised. Kerryon hangs it up.
He's
I
just
don't know.
not going to have the kind of role that is really, fantasy success. I don't see him out there catching many balls.
Would you be comfortable taking Swift in the early third round?
Third?
That's where he's
Early
going.
third? Is it really?
Mm-hmm.
That's a little bit early for me.
I don't know. I think I'd be comfortable.
Has he really been going in the third now?
Yeah, he's moving up quick. He's moving up really quick.
Name spokesman.
Shut up.
Yeah, I definitely don't want, like we were talking about, definitely don't want to be jumping into that pool of Todd Gurley, Leonard Fournette, Melvin Gordon, David Johnson. So
They just got so many
that
running
means
backs.
taking a leap on
They got so many running backs.
a guy like Swift.
Yeah. You don't really know what they're going to do. But he's definitely the best running back in that backfield. I did a rookie spotlight on him. He was phenomenal in Georgia. He can catch the ball. Barry Sanders gave him high props, too. That's pretty big coming from a Hall of Fame running back, especially like a guy like him, a legend. Said he reminds reminds him a lot about himself. So that's cool. I like Swift. I think I think I would, depending on the strategy I go with my draft, I would be all right with him being my RB2 going into the season. I think he's going to produce that value out of the gate for you. Even if he has to split some carries with Kerryon, I still think he's going to be able to get those receiving balls out of the backfield. That's vacant pretty much with McKissick's gone. Theoretic's been out of there for a couple of years now. So they're still looking for that guy to get the ball out of the backfield. Ty Johnson didn't really pay out last year for him. Bo Scarborough's not going to be catching no balls. He might vulture some goal line touchdowns, but I honestly don't. I don't think so. Honestly, I really don't. A lot of people are saying like Scarborough's still going to get some looks. I don't think so. I think Swift.
I don't know.
The more the camp goes on, the more the time goes by, they're going to start realizing how good this kid Swift is, how more agile he is. Kerryon's not going to be seeing the field much. I'm all right with Swift, RB2. I don't know if I'd use a third on him, but if I'm fourth round, he's sitting there, I'd be all right with that. I would take him there. For sure. I got the Lions going 8-8.
Oh, yeah.
I had Lions going 8-8.
I got him at 6-10.
Yeah, like I said, before the show, they really grew on me as we were talking about them. The team looks really good. Looks really good on paper. Their offensive line's not even that bad. I mean, they got Taylor Decker's going to be a good left tackle in the NFL for a long time. That's a huge piece on that team, and he's a leader too.
So we forgot to mention Hawkinson.
I mentioned him while you were lagging.
Okay.
But we could talk about him. We could talk about him.
Well, he came out and said that his ankle's not 100%, but then like a week later, we're getting beat reporters hype pieces saying that he was consistently beating the defense and looks fantastic. So
as he should, realistically.
Hey, he was a high draft capital rookie tight end last year. Came in hot week 1.
A lot of comparisons to the
definitely easily could be a top 10 tight end this year.
Mm-hmm.
Lump him into the group. I'd probably still take my guy Mike Gesicki over him, but you can make the argument for him.
They when he was coming out of the college, they compared him to Gronkowski in the red zone. So it could be good, or it could be also could be bad for our friend Galladay in the red zone. But yeah, I like Hawkinson. He's a guy you could get last round, I think. I don't think he. Well, maybe not last. I think he's going before Hooper. But like guys like that, it just shows you how deep the tight end.
They're going late. They're definitely going late, and there's value with a lot of them.
And how ugly the position is too. So yeah, Hawkinson. He doesn't have anybody really behind him either. Jesse James isn't gonna come steal his starting spot or anything like that. So he's a comfortable guy you can take. So I got him 8-8, and Kev's got him. What'd you say? 6-12.
6-10.
6-10. Sorry. 12's too many games. Yeah, 6-10.
A little bit.
I originally had him at 5-11, and I changed it before the show. But next, we'll start talking about some teams who could possibly make the run in the playoffs. Really good teams. We'll start off with the Minnesota Vikings. We'll save the Packers for last. We'll go Vikings here. A lot of top tier talent. You got Dalvin Cook right out of the gate, first round draft pick. And I don't think the holdout is a thing anymore. I don't think he really has that option in his play cards right now, especially with what's going on with the COVID.
I wouldn't do it.
And the money, the shortage of money that there's going to be next year for these teams with no fans and stuff. I don't think he's going to get that big of a payday. So teams will be less inclined to give him bigger money.
Well,
so he's going to show the Vikings he's worth it. So I think the Vikings, the only team, are probably going to overpay for him if he's worth it. So
Bell did it, and it didn't work out.
It didn't. Bell got paid.
So, not what he wanted. Not what he thought he was going to get.
Still got paid. But the running backs are getting paid, though. They are getting paid. I mean, Christian McCaffrey just got a huge payday because he showed the Panthers that he's the offense. He is the guy they got to go through. And he's Christian McCaffrey. But Dalvin Cook is a really good running back, dude. Really good running back. And you saw him last year. He's injury prone, yeah, but he's a really good running back. If he could pull out a 16-game season and put up some really good numbers with that kind of a chip on his shoulder, he's worth that first-round pick. I'd be comfortable taking him in the top 6, top 7, because he's going to be slipping.
Oh, yeah, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying if he holds out, he's not worth the money that he thinks he is. Lev Bell didn't get near the contract he thought he was going to get.
No running back.
That's what I was saying.
Okay. All right. But, if you do pick Dalvin Cook, make sure you get Madison on your team as well. Madison's also a very good running back.
I want to have Madison on every team.
Yeah. He's also a really good running
I think
back.
this year is definitely the, like we said, grab the high-end handcuffs.
Mm-hmm.
Grab yours, grab somebody else's, grab your Madisons, your Chase Edmonds.
Chase Edmonds.
I like Madison.
Yep. They also got Adam Thielen. Adam Thielen's always a consistent receiver. He's also injury prone, but he could put up some numbers here this year with no Stephon Diggs. He could be Kirk Cousins. I mean, he's going to be Kirk Cousins' top option, that's for sure. It's just a matter of how often will he be on the field. If he can stay healthy, he's got potential to be top 10 receiver as well in this division.
Easily.
They got every team has a receiver that could be top 10. Every team. But the Minnesota Vikings have a quarterback who could actually throw the ball pretty well, and that's Kirk Cousins. Kirky's interesting quarterback. He was decent last year for the most part. He really didn't disappoint. When you picked him where you picked him, 26 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. He got the job done for the most part. 3,600 yards. But, I mean, it was a run-first offense. Dalvin Cook was going to town before his injury started hobbling him up a little bit. But, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Kirk Cousins, I mean, he's another option you have if you wait for a quarterback. Right, Kev?
Yeah. He's in the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, they're definitely a run-first team. I would be more interested in, I guess, obviously in a super fight for him.
So, I mean,
I would take Jared Goff over him.
Okay. I was just going to ask that. All right. Yeah, I like him, though. I mean, 26 touchdowns. But, I mean, more or less is what just looking at Adam Thielen and giving him the ball all the time. It just stinks because Adam Thielen started off so hot last year, and he looked phenomenal, even with Stephon Diggs. And then he got hurt, and it hobbled him for the rest of the season. Even when he came back from injury, he had games where he played.
Yeah, he wasn't right.
And he just 0 points. I know I fell for it. I put him in 0 points, 0 points. So, yeah, that's the only worry I have with Thielen. If he's healthy, he's going to produce. He's going to get you numbers. He's the number one receiver, hands down. He's not a slot receiver. He can play the outside. He's good. But besides that, Justin Jefferson's the rookie from LSU. I like him, Kev. Slot. They're liking him in the slot. BC's ahead of him on the depth chart. But I don't see...
He's been running running behind BC Johnson, but I mean, he is a slot receiver. And he's one of the top wide receivers in all of college football last year. He won the national championship. He's obviously very good. I know Eagles fans are upset that they took Rager over him. We'll see how that pans out. See who has a better year.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I like Justin Jefferson a lot. Definitely in the slot, too. I don't know what kind of offense they're going to be running in Minnesota. I mean, they got 2 solid tight ends, so they might be coming out like not the Cardinals. Jesus. That's the team I'm thinking of. Like the 2 tight end sets, the 11 formation.
12.
12, sorry. 12 formation. Oh, the Rams, sorry. Um, so, yeah. Kyle Rudolph, red zone Rudolph. He might get some touchdowns in there. Not a guy I would pick. Irv Smith Jr. is definitely a dynasty option. Definitely a guy you could put on your roster in dynasty. He was a high draft pick for them in the draft last year. He's got the skill. It's just he's got Kyle Rudolph in front of him. Maybe he busts through that Rudolph door this year, takes away those red zone targets, takes away the snaps. Who knows? Definitely a dynasty target, Kev.
Oh yeah.
And anybody else you got here? I mean,
we talked about the 2 running backs. Talked about 2 wide receivers, Kirk Cousins. I mean,
who's BC Johnson?
I would dart at BC Johnson, but I'm not interested.
Yeah, me neither.
I think it'll be Thielen and Jefferson as this season goes on. There's probably not enough passing volume. Dalvin Cook's going to catch a bunch of balls again.
Yeah, it is what it is with the Vikings. If Cook stays healthy, they're going to run the ball a lot. So it kind of takes some attraction away from the receivers they have. But I'm all right with Thielen. I'd be all right with Thielen as a wide receiver 1, low end 1. I don't know. That's probably as high as I'll go with him. I wouldn't really necessarily take him in any of my leagues per se. He's going a little too high for my liking, especially with his injury history. But yeah, I don't know. I got them going 10-5. No, 10-6. Sorry, 10-6.
Yeah, I'm right there at 9-7.
Yeah, same thing. It's It'll be an interesting debate.
I just worry about that defense is on the decline a little bit.
Yeah, I was just looking at that. They got the safeties are good, Anthony Harrison, Harrison Smith, but other than that, their corners are kind of blah. So they might be having to score a lot of points.
They lost their best pass. Well, no, they have Daniil Hunter's actually been out of practice. He's their best pass rusher now, right?
Yep.
I mean, Everson Griffin's not there anymore, right?
No, he's in Dallas.
They just signed him. So, yeah, the defense is taking some hits.
Yeah, I agree with that. We'll talk about the last team here. Let's get the Packers on the table here.
My boys, the Green Bay Packers.
The Green Bay Packers, man. The Aaron Rodgers. Some say one of the GOATs. I mean, he's on the decline. The Packers think he's
Hall of Famer.
Oh, no doubt. Absolutely.
First ballot.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, Kev. But for 2020 fantasy,
yeah, no, I'm probably not going to pick him.
No, I'd stay away from A-Rod. Aaron Jones, another guy who's starting to really scare me as time goes on. I know he had a phenomenal year last year. I had him in a lot of leagues. It's very good for me. But as time goes on and the more that comes out of camp about this kid Dylan, it makes me nervous to have Jones, especially seeing the split he had with Jamal Williams last year. And he's still there too. So it makes me a little nervous taking Aaron Jones as high as he's going. Is he worth it? I don't know. I don't know, man. Dylan, have you seen Dylan? This guy's a monster.
He's got freakishly large legs. It's incredible, really. I mean, he's got like Saquon-sized quads, but also like his calves are enormous. There's definitely some power there.
Yeah.
He's definitely going to get the ball to goal line. I mean, how are you not going to give that dude some goal line work?
That's what I'm thinking. He's gonna
But
steal some stuff.
I feel like Aaron Jones, you can just line him up as a wide receiver because they don't have anybody else.
Yep.
I mean, he was very good in the passing game last year, so I'm a little worried about him. But I have him ranked like slightly outside my top 10 anyway.
Yeah,
so.
he's been dropping in my rankings as time goes by. But yeah, you're right though. Outside of that, all they have is really Devontae Adams. I mean, Alan Lazard's
You
getting
got
some hype.
Adams and my boy Lazard, right?
Lazard, and then you got MVS or Marquise Valdez Scantling, a big sleeper last year, kind of a bust sleeper, didn't really produce at all.
Yeah, that was another one of those guys that hype train last offseason got a little out of control for. Definitely burned some people.
Yeah, they same with the other guy too, St. Brown. When Vontae Adams got hurt, he was another guy people were jumping on, and he was a bust as well. And Aaron Rodgers came out and showed his frustrations with these guys. So that chemistry already is kind of blah. I don't know. The Packers scare me this year. I was talking to you about it earlier. It's just hard to say they're going to be bad because it's Green Bay, and they got Aaron Rodgers, so it's tough to say they're not going to be good. But I got them at 11-5 right now. I don't know.
Me also.
They make me nervous. Their defense isn't that great. I know they looked okay with Zadarius Smith emerging and Kursky.
Yeah, they had a good pass rush.
Yeah,
but that's about it.
They're a team that if they came out and they don't play well, and their fans are gonna start, we want Jordan Love. That's gonna happen. Like Twitter. I'm not gonna say it because they're not gonna have fans in the stadium, but Twitter's gonna be blowing up. Like Wednesday, Rod getting benched. He's on the decline. We drafted this young kid. They're saying he's not even ready, but I don't know. Makes me nervous. They got no depth anywhere besides running back. Their depth is shot everywhere on their roster. They make me nervous. Somebody
it is good for Devontae Adams.
Yeah, Devontae Adams is still gonna be
if he's on the field, he has the best chance to be the wide receiver one.
Oh, no doubt.
Outside of Michael Thomas, he's that guy that him and Julio are basically the only ones I see who could be wide receiver one.
Yeah,
not named like.
That's definitely a fair statement.
Devontae Adams is going to have so many targets. It's ridiculous. And he always gets the red zone looks, too. There's nobody else there.
Sternberger, bro.
Sternberger, a little dynasty piece.
He's starting tight end for the Green Bay Packers.
He is, but, I mean, Rodgers.
What were we just talking about? Who does he get to throw the ball to?
I mean, he didn't really. How did Jimmy Graham do?
Oh, not good. Not good.
He wasn't great.
Mercedes Lewis had a couple games, though, where he scored 2 or 3 touchdowns.
I don't think they've had a fantasy relevant tight end since Finley.
Jermichael Finley.
Michael Finley. That was a while ago now.
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
Sternberger's a guy you just throw him on your dynasty bench, but I don't think you're gonna draft him this year. Maybe he's a waiver pickup guy, maybe.
Yeah.
But he's there. He's a body. He's on the offense. So, not Lazard. He could be the number 2 option. More like number 3. Aaron Jones is going to be the number 2 option in the passing game.
Yeah, that's definitely a fair thing to say. That's what keeps him relevant. But with the depth at running back that they have,
in a PPR,
and in the way that he split the workload last year, even when Aaron Jones was having a game, he still took him off the field.
Yeah, Matt LaFleur was really. I had Aaron Jones last year, and he had some of those absolute blow-up games.
He was still getting put on the bench.
He could have had even more points, dude. Like he had a game where he had 50 fantasy points, 4 touchdown game against Dallas. Mm-hmm. And there was still times when Jamal Williams was in the backfield, and you're like, "Well, why are you doing this to me?"
Yep.
Why would you do this?
And it was sad is because a lot of the times they were coming from behind. It was Jamal Williams out there, not Aaron Jones. And you're like, oh, easy points for Aaron Jones. PPR dumped the ball to him, and here comes Jamal Williams. It scares me. It scares me. It definitely. And they bring in a rookie running back early, 2nd-round pick.
Who looks like a freak.
Yeah, man, it makes me nervous. Fantasy-wise this year, Adams is the only guy in that team that I feel completely 100% confident.
Super confident. Super confident.
Wide receiver 1, I'm sold. I don't care who his quarterback is. It doesn't really matter. I don't care how bad Aaron Rodgers is. He's still going to get 8, 10 catches a game. I'm good with Adams. I'm not saying he's not going to produce, but
Right.
You just got to be wary when you're drafting out.
You just have a gut feeling that the team's not going to be that.
Yeah, and then looking at their roster, man, Detroit has a better team than these guys. They have a better team than the Packers. The Vikings have a better team than the Packers. The Bears, never mind. The Bears.
I did just get a relevant alert about this division, about the Bears. I saw a report that said Nick Foles is, I believe it said, inches ahead of Mitch Trubisky
That's
in a
spice.
tight quarterback battle.
That's embarrassing.
So that's where that's at.
Well, you bring in Foles to push Trubisky to be better, because Foles is a career backup. He can't be a starter. Let's just face it. The guy can't start
Unless he's on the Eagles. That's it.
I don't care if he went to the Super Bowl and beat the Patriots. I don't care. He's not a starting quarterback in the NFL.
Here it is. Foles inches ahead of Trubisky in quarterback competition. So that's just ugly.
Personally, I think he's better than Trubisky. I think Trubisky's trash, but it's
he's scared.
It's very sad that your number one pick for quarterback out of UNC, and they passed up Patrick Mahomes.
Deshaun
Watson. Like, it's sad, dude. Like, if I was the Bears, whoever made that pick should be hung. Like, you're done, bro.
Isn't he still the GM though? He's still there, isn't he?
I think he is.
Ryan Pace, was he the one who made that pick?
Yeah, that's so bad, man. You got the best quarterback to come out of college ever right now. Skill-wise, the dude's ceiling is through the roof, and you could have had him on your team. Instead, you picked Mitchell Trubisky out of UNC. UNC.
That is absolutely brutal talent evaluation.
Sad, dude. It's sad. And like, as a Bear fan, I mean, we know a Bear fan. We got a Bear fan in the league of record, and like, imagine being him. You know, and like watching these games and watching like these quarterbacks that your team passed up on blow up. MVP seasons, Super Bowls, like breaking records.
Man.
I'd be
he
done.
has a job still too. This guy, Ryan Pace, 2015 to present.
That's crazy. Well,
what draft was Trubisky drafted him? 16, 17?
Yeah, that's the same draft as Mahomes and Watson. Those guys. There was another guy too. I can't think of his name. He's relevant. He plays.
I think it was 17.
But
that is rough.
That's rough. So we both got the Packers winning the division. I really didn't want to pick them, honestly. I didn't want to. Don't be surprised if Detroit wins this division. That's all I'm going to say. Don't be shocked. If Matt Stafford can stay healthy, this team can compete, man. They got a good squad. And Matt Patricia's
got the dark horse coming through.
Not a bad coach.
Matt Patricia's terrible football coach.
We'll see.
Is he terrible?
He's got his boys.
He's been there 2 years already.
He's got his boys from New England. His plans are coming together now.
We'll see if it makes a difference.
All his boys are coming from New
They
England.
didn't give him a chance to have a third year. A lot of coaches don't even get that.
That's because he came from New England. So yeah, my dark horse is Detroit, and I'm gonna stick with that. But
I like it, right?
I
think Matt Patricia's a bad coach, but I like the pick.
We both got the roster, man. The roster is so good. The roster's good. Like looking over these teams before the show, man. Depth wise, they got better depth than any of these teams at almost every position. I don't know. Like Kenny Galladay, besides Devontae Adams, we're not even going to include Devontae Adams in this topic right here because Devontae Adams is Devontae Adams. Him and Michael Thomas are by themselves. You can't really compare them to anybody. They're the best in the league. That's great. DeAndre Hopkins.
Julio.
Nah.
Julio.
No way.
He does it every year, man. How are you going to hit me with a mat?
Nah. Nope.
He's a freak.
Devontae Adams or Julio Jones?
I'm taking out this year.
All right. Argument's done.
Julio has just as much of a shot to be the wide receiver.
I don't think so. He's got Calvin Ridley on his ass. It depends on how much they throw the ball.
You got to say,
different
they
division.
throw the ball more than anybody else.
We talked about them last week. They're all done. We're not talking about them no more.
Fair enough.
Kenny Galladay is better than Allen Robinson. He's better than Adam Thielen. Marvin Jones is better than any of those wide receiver 2s on their team. I just the running backs.
Allen Robinson is a great wide receiver. If you gave him Matthew Stafford, he's a better wide receiver than Kenny Galladay.
But he does not have Matthew Stafford.
Right. But you can't say Galladay's better.
I think he's better.
I think Allen Robinson is a better receiver.
Okay. I'm not going to argue. But
Galladay, go look up who's the guy? Matt Harmon does that reception thing. That's the fantasy football I was talking about all the time. Go look up Kenny Galladay's separation. He doesn't get any.
Okay.
He's been fine without it, but Robinson is a better wide receiver. He's just been stuck with Blake Bortles and Mitchell Trubisky. And now it's about to be Nick Foles, who is inches ahead in a tight quarterback competition for the toilet bowl of the NFC North. It's brutal. What a career arc. This is the 3 worst quarterbacks of all time.
Unbelievable. It's unbelievable. I can't believe Mitch Trubisky still has a fucking job, bro. Like, if I'm the Bears, bro, that owner, the guy who drafted him, gone. Trubisky, gone. Well, honestly, there's a team out there that would take him for like a 7th round pick. Just get him off your team. Get him off of your team. But, whatever. Ain't my team, not my problem. Fantasy-wise, my favorite player in this division is obviously Devontae Adams.
Oh, yeah.
Outside of that, you could probably look at Kenny Galladay's probably right behind him for me. DeAndre Swift, another guy I like to pick. That's pretty much it. Dalvin Cook, if you got one of those top-tier picks, you're willing to take Dalvin Cook. Obviously. And other than that, the Bears, I stay clear from the Bears until I got a quarterback over there. But Allen Robinson's a comfy pick for some of you guys out there. Definitely a solid wide receiver too, if that's what you're getting. But I wouldn't feel comfortable with him as my wide receiver 1, like I said before. But yeah, Kev, I don't think you got anybody else you want to add in before we end this?
Not really. I just want to talk about like Mr. Trubisky some more.
Okay.
It's funny. It's like not even like the play on the field anymore. Like if you just evaluate their talent, it's Mahomes is just head and shoulders ahead of him. But if you just look at his demeanor, like in the confidence, Mr. Trubisky just looks scared, like a deer in the headlights, and Mahomes is out there dropping dimes on people and
no look passes.
Just baffling, dude. It's unreal.
Even Deshaun Watson.
That man got drafted number 2 overall.
It's sad.
No swagger at all. He just goes out. 2 years ago, he almost had it. He was running a lot. The team looked good. He had a little bit of a swagger. I don't know where it went.
When they had a lot of relevant. They had relevant players on that team too. Jordan Howard was a hell of a running back for them when Trubisky first came out. I remember we were at softball. Remember being at softball and Jordan Howard ran for like 3 touchdowns? I remember that shit, dude. We were going wild on the bench. I remember that. But all right, that's a wrap. Let's wrap it up here. Let's call the show.
Jordan.
First off, say thank you to everybody who supported us on Twitch. This is going to be our last show. The reasoning behind it is it started off fine. But I just think the audience that I bring to the table when I do this kind of a stream on my channel, it's more driven towards video games. I try to do something different, and this is something that me and Kevin both have wanted to do. We love fantasy football, but if the fantasy football show, you need comments. You need people to want to acknowledge what you're talking about. You want feedback. You want people to disagree with your opinions. And I'm not getting that here on Twitch, but I know the audience I would bring on Facebook, just posting statuses about fantasy football during the season. The Start Sit show would definitely be popping off on Facebook. It's just time to separate the two. Rhinolicious is going to stay here with Apex and everything, but the Fantasy Dad show, this is going to be it. We're going to move to Facebook. It's just a better opportunity for us as a fantasy football show. I don't think Twitch is really built for that just yet. I mean, I thought maybe we could be a niche with it, but hey, whatever. We tried. We still did it, man. It was a great time here. We had some weeks where it was popping.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie, we did have a couple weeks we got rated and people stayed and they liked the show. But we'll be on Facebook same times. Monday night mock drafts until the season starts. Then Tuesday nights will be this until we get the season underway. Then it'll be a waiver show. and then we'll have Sunday morning start and sit once the season's underway. But so make sure you follow us on the socials, on the YouTube. Just look the Fantasy Dads. We're unique. There's no one out there called the Fantasy Dads. You will find us right off the rip. Give us a follow. Give us a subscribe. Watch the videos. Look at our posts. We do player spotlights on Instagram. We put a lot of work into that stuff, man. And they come out phenomenal. We tons of great ideas. It's been awesome. So make sure you guys show us some support on there as well. And like I said, just feedback. We love feedback. Whether you don't agree with what we say, it doesn't matter. Just something, So yeah, appreciate everybody that comes in and watches us. Like I said, the Fantasy Dads. You can find us on YouTube, Twitch. Not Twitch. I'm sorry. YouTube, Twitter. Well, no, not Twitter yet. It's coming though. YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. There we go. The Fantasy Dads. Appreciate you guys, man. I'll be playing some Madden after the show. So stay tuned, and then we'll be playing Apex after that. But Kev, I'll talk to you, bro.
We're gonna have to peep that Madden stream.
Yeah, dude.
Pop on there a little bit.
Yeah, dude. Hop on. We'll be here. But all right, Kev. I'll talk to you. See you Saturday.
All right, buddy. I will see you Saturday. Huge day.
Live draft on Facebook. It's gonna be dope.
Big.